Good morning, everybody. Looks like the room's filling up quite nicely with over 40 attendees. So first of all, I'd like to welcome you to the first of the Kalmar SmartPort webinars. It's the first one of 6 that are going to take place over the next through spring into the autumn. The first through 3 are based on process automation, and the items in the autumn will be on the equipment automation. So today we're just going to give you an introduction onto the SmartPort process automation that Kalmar is now working with. It's going to be an interactive session. And as you can see in the middle of your screen, there's a chat box, which is being used quite frequently at the moment. And it's a chance for you to ask questions. I've got an expert panel of product managers and technicians on the call with us. And if there's any questions that you have, please type them into the chat, and we will get back to you at the end of the presentation with a questions and answer session where we will try and answer everything you have. Okay, so first of all, introduce myself. For those that don't know me, I see there's some of my old Navis customers online at the moment, but my name is Neil Escot. I'm the sales manager for Kalmar SmartPort, and I'm based out of the UK, working from home today. And I look after the EMEA region, including India, Pakistan, and obviously the rest of Europe and Africa. So my role is very much to give you an introduction to what we're selling now. The SmartPort portfolio was introduced at the TOC back in June last year in Antwerp. So it's quite a new solution of products, and it's a chance for us to let you know what we have on offer. So today we're going to be focusing on the rail operations moving into the yard. So the various components that we have as solutions are working with these various areas. So what are the trends going on in the business today? The ships are getting bigger. The 18,000 TEU vessels are coming online this year. Terminals are getting under a lot more pressure to turn these big vessels round. You don't have any more space in your terminal, you can't expand your yard area. So how can we improve these things? So to be more competitive, we are offering process automation solutions where you, for a minimum cost, you can actually improve the processes that you're currently doing today. So as an example, every time you touch a container, so on the quayside, in the yard, at the gate, at the rail, we can improve the process. So an example we have here, for a terminal of approximately 500,000 TEUs, if we improve the processes on the quayside, and just for 3 seconds for every time you lift or drop a box, over a period of a year, this becomes 10.4 days of delays. Now, if we do this at every touch point, including the yard, the gate, etc., you improve your processes. You can either speed up the operations, get the vessels turned around quicker, or you could technically use less equipment, so you don't have to buy more straddle carriers or trucks. So where can we help you? Here we have a standard container terminal. I guess most of you work in the container terminal, so you know what it looks like. This is an RTG terminal, and as you see on the right-hand side, there are straddle carriers, shuttle straddles as well. So where can we help you? We have products that operate on the quayside. We have products that operate with the equipment, working with maintenance and repair. We have a solution that automates the gate processes. SmartRail is a product that works with the RTGs to minimize the steerage problems where the wheels are not following the lines of the track. Yard inventory, we have processes of handing off trucks against RTGs to take away the driver entering any information. And then also we'll have a SmartMap. So any piece of equipment that has a location device on it is capable of being seen live on a map. So we'll go into these options in more detail. So how do we get all these solutions together? So what Kalmar has done, it's created a SmartPort Alliance. So what we've done is we've taken the best of breed from various products and brought them together to offer them as a joint solution with the Kalmar software. So the companies we're sharing with or partnering is Zebra Technologies. They work closely with RFID technologies, and as you know, Navis was previously owned by Zebra before Cargotec came along. We have APS, which is part of the ABB group with an HQ in the US. They are OCR experts. They work with gate systems. They work on the key side. They do OCR on RTGs as well. And then we have Symeo, a German-based company, who provide our solutions for GPS, DGPS, and LPR. I'll go into those details a little bit further into the presentation. So we have 9 solutions. Today we're going to be covering the items marked in green. So we have SmartLift, we have SmartStack, SmartTracks, SmartPath, SmartRail, and SmartFleet. So the process of what we're trying to achieve with these process automations is improve the visibility for your operations, so where you can see where your equipment is through the maps, through the tracking of it. Because we're taking away some of the human error factions, we can get more accurate information. So the system will take a reading of the container, not a guy on the key who types it into his handheld. And because we're getting more information, more visibility, you can better utilize your equipment. So if you've got lots of trucks queuing up on the quayside, you can see that. You don't need to wait for the drivers to start complaining they've got no work. And by all these automation processes, you've got a chance to eliminate delays and in many cases improve safety, because you've got a chance of taking people away from these hostile working areas, in the stacking areas, on the quayside, and improve the safety aspect of taking people out of the danger areas. So, first item we have on our itinerary is SmartTracks. SmartTracks is the rail OCR. It's, as you can see in the diagram slightly to the right, we have a pedestal which has OCR cameras on it. So in today's operations, in many cases, somebody has, when the train arrives in your terminal at the rail area, somebody has to go out and read the train. So in the Navis terms, it was somebody would go out with a handheld. He would enter the container number, he would assign it to a wagon or a wagon slot, and this could take an hour and a half before operations can start. The terminal rail planners need to know which containers are on which wagon and in the order they're on the train. So what this system does is, with the process automation, as the train comes into the sidings in your terminal, it passes this portal or pedestal where cameras are on there. It reads the container number. It records any damage as well, because it will take a consistent photograph of the containers. If the ID of the rail wagon is available and can be read, then it will record that as well. And if you've got a dedicated rail system where you have the same wagons coming back to your terminal time and again, we could actually put RFID tags onto the wagons, and they could go past a reader and then identify the wagon with the container as it comes into the system. As part of the optimization, there's also an RMG operator view with a user interface where the driver of the RMG operating the rail tracks can actually see on his computer screen what the train looks like, because it's all been recorded, and as he moves his RMG, he can move physically on the screen with the containers. So SmartPath links into the rail side of things, because SmartPath is an optimization system to work with Navis Prime Route. So I see that some of my old Navis customers are online. Prime Route is a product that Navis created to optimize equipment. So basically, if you're operating in trucks or straddle carriers, if you have a truck in a standard operation, you would have the truck dedicated to one point of work, so a key crane. So the truck would go to the key crane, pick up an import, go back into the yard, and then go empty back into the key area with that key crane. So at least 50% of that travel is empty. So he's not being fully utilized. What's happened with the prime route system is that the driver, when he gets to a certain stage in his process, he has to push a key on his VMT, his vehicle mounted terminal. And this then lets the system know that he's got to a certain stage in the job stepping. Because the benefit of prime route for Navis is that the job stepping means that the system can change his final destination at any point in the job stepping. But what the drivers are doing, they're either not pushing the F1 button or they're pushing it too quickly so that the system doesn't actually know where they are. So what happens next is that the system loses track of where the driver is. If the driver doesn't push F1 at all, then his job doesn't progress and the system doesn't know he's completed it. So what we're doing with SmartPath, we're putting a GPS unit on the trucks, and when the truck is given a job to do, the system creates a virtual, what we call a geofence, so it's a virtual area around his destination. And when the truck passes through with the recording from the GPS, he will go through one of these geofences and the system will automatically update the host system. So I'm saying we're using it with Prime Route with Navis, but I'm sure other TOS operators do have optimization systems. And if they need triggers to complete moves, the same system could be used with another product. So it works perfectly with trucks, with straddles, and obviously the shuttle straddles, which are becoming very popular in the automated terminals. So what we do now is I'm going to show you a brief video from Malta Freeport. They have recently, in project, started with SmartPath, and they're also going for SmartFleet. So we have a brief video for you from the customer themselves, from Jesmond and Stephen from the operations and IT departments. I would recommend that you press the full screen option on this so that you can get the benefit of the full video. And look forward to coming back to you in a couple of minutes when we finish the video. Thank you.
Malta Freeport in the region of the Mediterranean is of being one of the major transshipment hubs, which has been established in the last 25 years and is one of the leaders in transshipment terminals.
Last year we handled over 2.5 million TEUs, of which we did service clients like CMA, CGM, Maersk Line and other major shipping lines.
This is our first experience with semi-automation technology, but definitely it will not be our last. We intend to take up more modules from the SmartPort suite.
We have invested in process automation in Malta Freeport mainly because we want to improve the service we are providing to our clients. Basically, process automation will reduce the human error factor and also will improve also our performances levels in relation to the performance that we are achieving currently. Prime route requires job stepping, and with job stepping, the driver has to intervene with manual input on his RDT set. With SmartPath, we will eliminate this function by the driver, and in addition to that, we will improve our performances. Apart from SmartPath, we are also having the SmartFleet, which will be providing telematics to our engineering department so that they can make better analysis on the equipment that we are using in Malta Freeport.
No reservations, no problems with installing the Kalmar's equipment on another supplier's equipment. Actually, our engineering team did a great job to install the Kalmar equipment on our existing fleet of trucks and cranes.
The first results of operations are very positive and we are very satisfied. We have installed currently up to 63 units, cross-core units into our tugs and 23 on our key cranes. The information that is being sent via Wi-Fi, the GPS information, is being also displayed on the live view screen that we have installed in our equipment control office. And at the moment we are in the project stage where we are testing also the job stepping feature. The key benefit in SmartPath is that with the implementation of SmartPath into our applications, we will be having less human errors. And this is based mostly because at the moment we are having our truck drivers which are still pressing the function key. And with having this automation, we'll automatically avoid this, will improve performances, will give us more benefits in the sense of visibility of where is the equipment, and also will enable us to have better performance at the end.
We will be considering other SmartPort products. We will consider SmartStack, which is related to the automated yard inventory solution. And we also are looking at SmartLift, which is concerned with the automated handoff solution with trucks.
Okay, so thank you very much, Malta, for explaining how well the solution's going. If you've had any lag or latency issues with watching the video, we can actually play it again at the end of the presentation when we have a bit more time. Okay? So the next option we have as a solution is a process automation called SmartLifts. This is based on RFID technology, where we put an RFID active tag onto a truck, an internal truck, or it could actually be a road truck. So you could fit them permanently to your internal trucks, and if, as in the case in Los Angeles, it becomes a state requirement, all the road trucks have these RFID tags fitted. So what happens with this is when it comes into the proximity of an RTG, where his job is, the RTG has what is called a wear port, which is an activator, which activates the tag and basically identifies the truck, whether it's a road truck or an internal truck, with the RTG. So the driver of the RTG, in normal conditions, he would have a job list. He would have a list of all the work that's for the area that he's been zoned into. And there could be 30, 40 jobs on that list. So in a normal operation, he would then have to either type in the container number that he sees on the truck, or the truck ID if the truck is empty, and then select the job. So it takes maybe 5-10 seconds to do. It doesn't seem a long time, but when the amount of jobs that he does, 30, 40 containers an hour, all these things add up. But by having the identification with the RFID tag, when it comes in proximity of the RTG, the system knows that that truck is there. It communicates with the TOS, the terminal operating system, and it creates an automated handoff. So what happens then is the job that is associated with that truck is automatically pushed to the top of the work list, so the driver doesn't actually have to type anything in. The job comes straight to the top of the list and opens up for him to go and operate with. So it reduces the truck turnaround times, it reduces errors, because technically the driver could type in the wrong container number and have to re-enter it. So it's automating the process of the handoff for the RTGs working in the yard. SmartStack is automated yard inventory. So drivers positioning containers in the yard, so whether it's an RTG, whether it's a straddle carrier, a reach stacker, an empty handler, or maybe even a forklift, manually enter where those containers have been put. So using technology that is either from DGPS. Now DGPS is differential global positioning system. So GPS, as you probably understand, is the same as having your TomTom and your Garmin's in your car, and it tracks quite accurately to approximately sort of 10 meters. But you can't have a 10-meter accuracy working in a container area. 10 meters puts the container in the wrong slot, it puts it in the wrong row, and you're starting to lose containers. So what we're trying to do with SmartStack, with the yard inventory, is never to have a lost container again. So when you have a differential GPS, GPS has its errors built in from the satellites. So what you would do is you put a base station on a tall building, an administration building, for example. It has a fixed location. The system knows exactly where it is, and it takes readings from the satellites and identifies the errors that are created from the feed from the satellites. So whenever a container is put into a location, whether it's from an RTG or a reach stack, for example, as the twist locks are moving on the spreader, it gets an update of the error that's currently in operation with the satellites. So it applies the error, and in many cases, the accuracy is now about 30 centimeters, which is accurate enough to get a positive location in the yard. So we use DGPS technology in majority of the areas, but LPR, which is local positioning radar, is used when we have problems in proximity of prospectively the key cranes. So LPR is a zoning system where you create almost your own satellite network from the light poles in your terminal. and they will give accuracy under the key crane where there's a lot of metal. Obviously, you know that, and also in the back reach of the key cranes, and if there's any RTGs in close proximity to key cranes, they lose their satellite fixes. And this system will actually give accurate readings for the yard anywhere in the proximity of the metal of the key cranes. The next item we have is SmartRail. SmartRail's been part of the Kalmar solutions for RTGs for many years. It basically creates a virtual rail for the rubber-tired gantries. Basically, the driver has the capability of steering these gantries from block to block. And if he doesn't keep his wheels in a totally parallel to the block, he can collide with the containers. He can get into problems. And what the automated gantry steering does, it uses DGPS and it creates a virtual rail. So what will happen is if the driver goes off the tracks, basically, he starts moving off and moving towards the containers, the system will take over the PLC of his machine and slow him down. It will take control of the engine. And if he goes to, I think it's approximately 20% error of moving off the tracks, it will stop the engine. So it stops the collision before it happens. So it gives the driver more security of where he is and makes him concentrate more on his job and not focusing on steering all the time. So SmartFleet is process automation. It's not an operational process. It's helping the maintenance and repair people. So what we do is we'll fit the Kalmar onboard processor into the PLC of your truck, of your RTG, your reach stacker, whatever equipment you're working with. And it feeds the information back to the engineers. So it will monitor your fuel levels. It will monitor your oil, your hydraulic pressures, anything that can come up. So the engineers will actually see, as you can see in the diagram slightly to the right of the screen, each machine has its own process optimization. So you can see exactly what is happening with that machine. You can actually double click that and zoom in and you can see what the spreaders are doing, what's locked, what electrics are coming through. And what it does, it records all of this. So you can get statistics reports, you can monitor it. You can also, for daily monitoring, for fuel, for example. I know on some terminals, the drivers, even if they've got half a tank of fuel, will go to the fueling station to assist to queue up for 20 minutes just to get fuel. So by actually monitoring what fuel is remaining on those vehicles, you could actually tell them when to move. It also gives the engineers a good chance not to have to go into the working areas. It's another safety feature where the engineers have to monitor engine outs for maintenance purposes. So for an RTG working in a yard, the engineers can actually monitor the engine outs remotely without going out to the vehicle and actually taking a reading every day. So it helps their life and it makes it a lot safer environment where there's just basic recording needed and they don't have to go into the hard working areas. So when you have any location device fitted to your equipment, we can track it on a map. So we have a product called SmartMap. So SmartMap basically comes included with any of the location devices. So if you click on the expand full screen, you'll get a better view of this. So what you're seeing on here is an RTG terminal. The little items moving around are the trucks. So you can see that they're live. You can see where the RTGs are. When a blue circle appears, which it's doing now, it means that there's a job in progress and there's an operation happening. In this particular site, they have RFID tags on their trucks, which are synchronized to the key cranes. So and the RTG. So when you see a yellow dot appearing, it means that an RFID tag has actually been located at that point in the yard. So it gives a pure good visibility. In Malta, when I was there 3 weeks ago to do the interviews, they have a 52-inch plasma screen in their operations area, which shows everything working live. So the operations people can actually see if suddenly all the trucks have stopped working, you can see where they are, where they're queuing, where they're at the key cranes or where they're in an RTG area. So it gives a lot of operational feel to give the operations people and the management a good view of where all the equipment is. For example, in Malta, one of their concerns was they have, it's not their labour, it comes from a pool. And at night time, the truck drivers have a habit of disappearing in the back of the empty stacks. and going to sleep for 30 minutes or having a cigarette. They can't do that anymore. The system will read where they are, and if the truck is not answering his phone or the radio, you can call him, you can find him, and you can send somebody out to see him. You know where he is. So you understand that obviously we're introducing these as Kalmar solutions, but the benefit of what we're offering is the fact it doesn't need to be a Kalmar equipment. We will work with Konecranes, with Knoll, with ZPMC. With the project we did in Malta, they have turbo trucks, and we had no problems at all working with the different types of equipment. Now, obviously, the benefits of using Kalmar, working with Kalmar, is that we know the equipment, we know the PLCs, we know the models, we know all the electrics. So the projects are much simpler to implement, but we have skilled technical teams who will go and work with any other equipment as well. The same applies for the TOS, the Terminal Operating System. It doesn't have to be Navis. We work with Camco, other companies, Cosmos, etc., TSB. It doesn't need to be a Navis product. But I say the benefits are that the product roadmaps that we work with, our solutions, are also synchronized with Kalmar and also synchronized with Navis. So any changes in Navis N4 or in our own solutions will be tested thoroughly before the customer gets the products. So it works very well. So we're flexible, we're TOS agnostic, we're equipment agnostic, and as for example with Kalmar, you could actually have all the components fitted to your equipment before they're shipped to you. So it can be done at manufacture. We can't always offer that with other companies. So at your service, we're following the process that Navis has with covering support and maintenance and support. We have software solutions now, and as many of you know, software is not perfect. So we're using the existing network from Navis plus additional offices around the world. So we're having to follow the sun process that the Navis customers are used to, where we have multiple offices. So we have in Oakland, London, Tampere, Sydney, Hong Kong, Dubai, and Chennai. So basically, if you've got a case and it's being monitored and the office is closing, say at 6 o'clock in the UK time, then the American office can take it over because it's the beginning of their day. So the case is followed through to get you back up and running for the critical issues. The other benefit of this is we will still do quarterly releases. So if there's any product improvements, fixes, bugs, hot fixes, we will be able to assist you in getting the product improved. So a customer asks for additional functionality, we do share it from the roadmap with all the other customers. So your product is continually developing and you're getting more benefit from having the support package. So what do we cover today? So basically we've introduced you to process automation in various areas, that from the rail through to the yard with the various components in between. Principle is to try and get away from the manual operations, but as you know, you can't always do that. Now, a lot of the new terminals that are coming out are fully automated. They may be your neighbors. They may be working closely with you, and you've got to compete with them. You can't suddenly go and put ASCs into your terminal and replace all your equipment. So process automation gives you an opportunity to compete on level grounds by process automation and using the existing equipment you have for your own operations. So the operations will change, but we'll see this very soon. So basically, we're going to be at the TOC in Europe, in Rotterdam, at the end of June. I will be there. You know my face now. You know who I am. So please come and have a chat. Come and see us. We can go through in more detail if we can offer you any solutions. And I look forward to meeting you in person. As we said, the next webinar is on May the 2nd. It involves the vessel operation moving into the yard. So some of this will be duplicated for the yard side of things, but for the vessels, it will cover what we can offer you on the vessel side of processes.